The mean bean.
The mean bean.
Mean bean.
Mean.
With that, welcome back to Tabletop Jump Shot, a live action role playing game with all baristas. With me today is Bela.
Who plays Val, who doesn't like zombies.
Whoa. Buka. Yeah, running from zombies feels like a lot of work, so probably dying season 1.
So, as Pierce, I don't think anybody likes zombies, but I feel
No.
like Pierce would survive for a while, at least.
Yeah.
You had to have a plan. And
Mhm.
last we left off, our group of friends have been traversing the Stakarian heartlands as they have been getting deeper and deeper as they are approaching the city of Eldoria. There, they were told by Professor Onyx that they would have a contact, a person, mage slash student by the name of Tamsin, who was doing research and would be a good lead and resource on information about the Moonmother tree, especially since he had recently come in contact or some knowledge of the dragonborn that our group of heroes had faced earlier in the Skyfang range. As they entered a series of woods and forests in the Heartlands, our friends found a combat taking place between two tribes. And after a very brief emphasis on brief scuttle, they ended up meeting with the victors, who actually were a member or a tribe of people. They go by the Broken Spear. And with them was Tamsin, who, after a brief conversation with them and the leader of these group of warriors by the name of Lake, a general agreement was brought together. They were decided to be friends. They learned a little bit about some of the mourning and funeral rituals of the Broken Spear, and they headed deeper into the woods, with Val kind of noticing this almost glowing, blue glowing of some of like the leaves and foliage of the trees as they were approaching. And they ended up finding or entering the city of Eldoria, a massive city of trees that have fully almost fused and formed buildings, with the center of the city having this massive 400-foot tall tree that overshadows the rest of this city slash town. And that is where we are now. You guys find yourselves at the entrance as you just witness this massive tree ahead of you. Lake and the warriors kind of continue ahead. Tamsin looks at you guys and just says, it's a lot to take in. Are you guys doing okay?
Is
Yeah.
that the Moonmother tree?
It's magnificent, isn't it?
She's beautiful,
is.
but
Yeah, this has been providing protection for the city for millennia.
That is much, much too long for me to even fathom. Tamsin, when in your studies, what do you really specialize in? Do you just magical items, it looked like, or spells in general?
In what I research or in what I practice magically?
yes.
Yeah, let's start with research.
With my research, a little bit of everything. My most recent, I would say, interest has been primarily the tribes of the Heartlands and kind of some of the rituals that they contain. I am very more acclimated to arcane usage of magic and kind of the more intellectual approach to it. Typically, you know, learning magic circles, learning different kinds of spells, things of that nature, while here they tend to follow a more druidic way of life where they receive knowledge and power and wisdom from nature itself. And so I've kind of been curious as to how they go about learning it and things like that. And so that has led me to being here for the last 2 years.
Great. So you've learned a lot about the Moonmother tree.
Yes.
Yeah.
And no.
Oh, well, ain't that how it goes?
Yes.
Have you ever heard of a spell to create? I mean, step in here if I'm remembering this wrong, guys. A different realm.
Yes. It's a
Is that
different
true?
realm to
Plane of
resurrect.
existence.
A
Plane of
different plane of
existence.
existence to resurrect an individual.
And-
Right?
And to live forever.
Yeah.
Oh, you're serious. No, that
Yeah.
can't be done.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Okay. Mhm.
well, you see,
I pull out the book.
the journal.
The journal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
With the notes on it in the back, with all the symbols of everything.
Uh-huh.
And we fill in Tamsin about the rock and the feather of the rock.
And Cavino.
And Cavino and the crystal talons.
Pulls out his spectacles again as you guys are still, at the entrance of the city. Some people starting to kind of glance at you guys. They see you with Tamsin, so they kind of keep their distance. But you see that some of them whispering, or some of the children are kind of like pointing, and as sometimes like some parents are trying to grab them. This is a journal from Vorkin.
Yes.
Yes.
This is. How did you go about acquiring this?
I just happened to find it.
Just happened into his undertower.
Hmm.
That's I don't even know what that is, but that is.
Neither did we.
No, it's like a tower, but under. Mm-hmm.
And it's incredible. That's a massive discovery.
So, you want to have your mind blown a little bit more?
Yes, and at this point, he's still kind of going through. Like there
Mhm.
is a lot to the journal itself, but you
Mhm.
see that he is spending time like on the actual like spells, because not all of them are, as you guys kind of were going through them. Not all of them were these, creating another plane of existence spells,
Right.
but some of the spells that people use today are spells it seems that Vorkin came up with, and so he's looking at these spells as well.
Mhm.
Yes, of course. What is it?
So, this Vorkin guy, he's been around for a while, and when we're talking about millennia, we believe that Cavino is Vorkin.
I mean, that would be that would be an impossibility. I mean, Vorkin was around much longer. I mean, even amongst some of the older elves, they typically will live to about 800 to 900 years at most. So Vorkin was around such a long time ago that that's not likely. But
Right. Right. So that's what we thought as well. And then this is when I would look at my notes that my dog chewed up, and I would say the other names of the people that we found we connected with him.
Hold on. Hold on.
Somebody
I'm
pull
scrolling
out the
back. I'm
I
scrolling.
think I got it. Oh, maybe.
How long ago was
Oh,
that?
yeah. Hadrian, Dagshield,
he's
Ezrin Greencraft, and Therian the Just. Any of those sound familiar, Tamsin?
What was the second one that you said?
Ezrin Greencraft?
I've heard the name before, maybe in my studies. The rest of the I don't really know much about them, other than Vorkin. I don't know much of the other names that you were mentioning, but
Are you a fan of his music?
I mean, just beyond what you hear by the fireside or things of that nature. I mean, are you insinuating that this is all the same person?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Professor Onyx can also confirm.
He is the one that confirmed it.
This is
Ezrin
this
was
is lots
the most recent.
Don't
for
worry.
him, at least.
Take some time to unpack, process the information. I too was also very mad about it. So you take time.
mad.
So
I'm more
funny story.
baffled by.
I was baffled, but also upset because I personally just got a weird vibe from one of his identities, I guess.
Identity.
Yeah, and his name was Cavino. I don't know why I didn't like him, but I didn't like him. But my friends here were like, no, he's a cool guy. I'm like, Anyway, I will bring this up forever, everyone.
I mean, he was kind of cool. He gave us a bag
Yeah,
and
short
wine.
stories, we spent time with a man named Cavino. Relatively worked alongside him. Not necessarily became friends, but borderline. And then we later.
You
found
guys
out
were
that
buddy with him every night.
You gave him your horses.
Ooh.
Yeah, as an apology after I was gaslit. Anyway.
Yeah, right. So We then later found out that Cavino is just Vorkin's current identity.
Cavino
Cavino,
Crystal
Cavino
Talon.
is
The head
Vorkin,
of the Crystal Talons.
right?
Mhm.
Because his last
Mhm.
name is
The
Is
mercenary
Crystal
group. Okay.
Talon.
Crystal Talon.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. So is he okay? I don't know how much time you guys spent with him or how much research you guys conducted with Professor Onyx. Is he biologically immortal? Is he
Mhm.
is
Mm.
he incapable of dying entirely?
Yeah, that one. Is that at least best that we can understand is that something about him scared. Well, I don't know if scared is the right word. Created concern or like a not necessarily fear for him, but fear of what he knew and what he was learning, I guess. That
What he was
other
capable
realms,
of.
like what him if he were to die, no realm wanted to take him on. So they
So
aren't allowing him to die. It's not even that he
He's cursed.
hasn't. Yes. Yeah.
could be
That's what
blessed, could be cursed, could be gifted,
That's what it feels
where you want to
like.
see it.
I think early on he probably felt it as a gift. But I doubt he sees it that way anymore.
Okay.
One of the names that I mentioned, Therian the Just, records of him end about 1,000 years ago.
You see that he's starting to like sweat a little bit, like the sweat kind of glinting off of his, slightly metallic looking skin. This is not possible. Okay, okay. This might be a good conversation. I don't even know what notes I would go into. Maybe we should follow. This is a lot. Okay. How opposed would you be? And I appreciate all of you for sharing. Obviously, this is kind of big, end of the world kind of news. So I'm assuming you're not telling everybody. And then he pauses. He's like, "You guys are just telling people, right?"
No.
No, we're not.
Okay.
I think the only
Okay.
reason we're even considering and having this conversation with you is because Professor Onyx specifically sent us to you.
Wonderful. Okay. If that is the case, then I would probably suggest speaking with the matriarch here in Eldoria might be a good source of wisdom, at least as far as why they would be approaching the mother tree.
The matriarch.
Yes, her name is Lova.
Lova.
But she's been the matriarch here for an incredibly long time and has been the caretaker of both the people here as well as the Moonmother tree. And so I think it might be privy for her to be maybe filled in. I might have to do some research. I only have a limited number of books, but I could at least look into a little bit of what you're speaking. I don't even know where I would begin, but as far as actual information on the Moonmother tree, I know a decent amount, but would probably be a better source of information for all of you, at least in that regards.
Would you be able to introduce us to the matriarch, Miss
Yes,
Lova?
yes, of course. And at this point, the other two warriors that were with Lake seem to have gone away. Lake is still somewhat nearby. You see that he's having a conversation and is kind of like keeping an eye on you guys, and so hasn't fully left. He's not like listening in, but he's just about
Yeah.
40 feet away or so. But Tamsin speaks up and just says, "No, I think we can 100% make an introduction. With me being here for the last couple of years, I've already been able to earn their trust. And then Lake is the leader of the hunters of the city, and so his role carries a lot of weight here as well. So Lova typically is busy attending to the region as a whole, making sure things are good. But she is here currently, and I think she would see us now. Honestly, this is yeah, it seems urgent.
Yeah. No. Quick question for you, I guess, before we go there. What we talked about earlier as far as sharing with Lake, potentially reaching out to some of the other tribes, do you think that would be something that I should do? And do you think Lake would hear me out?
Yes. No. 100%.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think I could? I like look over kind of in his direction and like back at Tamsin. Do you think I could go have that?
Yes.
I mean,
No.
I guess
I mean, we.
relatively quick conversation. I don't know how long it might take, and then we can go.
I mean, we can. If you want, also we can speak on the way. And as you guys look, like the tree's still some distance away, and it has less to do with the actual population, but just with the trees physically taking up so much space. The this massive tree that you guys see at the center is still a good distance away. Like you guys still have to do
Mhm.
some walking to get there.
Right.
Right.
And I guess question for you. Obviously, we came looking for you and learned a lot of what we know through Professor Onyx. And being that we came to you, we trust you. At what level? I guess how much information should or should we not share with Lake? If there's anything you feel like I should withhold.
I don't know if you noticed, Lake is not really much of the gossipy type.
Right.
So one, you don't have to worry about that. But also, if it honestly, if it means the protection of the people here, I do think that you would probably get more in his good graces by keeping
Right.
him in the loop. And
Right.
I think better from your mouths than mine. Not because he doesn't trust me, but you are all coming in as the outsiders.
Yeah, and with the experience with these crystal talons that potentially pose a threat. Cool. Okay. Thank you. We can do that then. So I don't want to waste too much time. So we can talk on the way.
Yeah. Again, Lake at this point has still kind of been keeping an eye on you guys. And then you see that Tamsin, they make eye contact. And because he's further up ahead, as you guys walk up, Lake joins the the group and just says, "Is everything okay? I know it is impressive," and kind of points to this massive tree. She is big, yes.
I thought
Dude,
you weren't supposed to make jokes.
Is she not big? Is she
I
not
She's
can
mighty?
very big.
say I haven't seen bigger.
I look at Val like, "Wow, where's the joke?
Is this not? Is she not mighty?
She
As
is
big as a tree,
mighty. She's large and in charge.
indeed.
Biggest and mightiest
You
tree I've
speak.
ever seen."
She look. He kind of like leans in, gets a little too close, and he just has like a really like earthy smell, and just says, "You speak wisdom," and then kind of goes forehead to forehead with you, and just says, "Wise one," and then starts to kind of walk.
Ooh, me or Pierce? Who is he forehead to forehead with?
You.
Oh God. Okay.
Right into the microphone.
Paused specifically, so when I delete it, there's zero. It cut a chunk so much easier. But yeah,
He's like,
he goes forehead to forehead with Val and just says, "You speak wisely. She is mighty and in charge."
mm,
Thank you so much.
um,
It means a lot
Ali.
to me. What are you wearing? You smell very earthy.
Oh, I lean
It
into
is
Pierce.
musk.
Musk.
Did Val just ask him what he's wearing?
Cologne.
No. You're not here. I'm talking to Pierce.
I'm sorry.
They almost kissed. Did you see that?
They got really close. What was that about?
I don't know. I put my forehead on Pierce's forehead, but I have to lean down just a little bit because he's just a
Okay.
little bit shorter than I am.
And the fangirls are like, oh my God, they're going to kiss. I wrote fanfic about this. It's on my Tumblr. Val's
Oh
Tumblr.
no. Oh,
Anyways, as we start this conversation, I kind of catch up to like, can I talk to you about some, I guess, concerns
You
that I
may
have?
speak to me about anything.
Great. I think, long story short, because I just feel like that works better for you. This group that approached you guys apparently about seeing the tree or whatever they wanted. I believe they're going to probably check in or try to convince other tribes to attack you guys. More than likely, giving them fake information of the reason why they should.
They can try,
But
but they will meet their end at the end of my javelin.
I do think that their goal is to get to the moon tree, and I don't know if what they are going to do is going to bring danger to the tree, but I think it could be beneficial to you guys to reach out to the other tribes to warn them that these crystal talons may lie to them about their intentions. Crystal talons are like powerful group, but I think they haven't made a move because your group is like considerable, and they might use these other tribes to try to like slowly weaken your guys' defenses.
I like with Val, he kind of leans in as well, puts forehead to forehead, and he says, "You speak wisely."
Thank you. I want
You also
your
smell like
tribe
the
to be-
earthy musk.
I want your tribe to be protected. We're here to help protect the tree, and I think the best way to do that is to have every tribe at least informed of the potential of being approached by this group, so they have the truth before they get lied to.
This is wise. I will send one of my men to speak with some of our tribes that did not attack us like the Twin Hounds.
I think
I lean over
mean,
to Buka. Are they gonna kiss?
these other tribes too, if depending on your guys' relationship, if they could share with you guys if they are approached, could also be very beneficial, so that you guys can have an idea of what their movements are.
This is a united front.
Yeah.
You said long story
it's-
short. You explained a lot, but it was
Yeah.
more like long story long. But
Mhm.
but
It
I
was,
get
a,
it.
it was a
also have-
long story, not as
Like
long.
medium.
Did-
Put
like
it
long
in
they
story
medium.
have
medium.
There you go. Yes.
Did they have to have the second half of this conversation with their foreheads still touching?
Yes.
Oh,
As you
It was
start, as you
longer
guys are whispering, he
conversation.
looks over. You dare whisper behind Lake's back.
oh,
I'm in front
sorry.
of you.
Somebody said, "Okay, maybe we should get to walk in." Okay. No,
How can I
What is
whisper
it that-
behind your back if I'm in front of you?
Do you speak trickery to me, Lake,
No.
leader of the hunters?
No.
Tamsin, okay, we should probably get going, you guys. And this whole time, you guys have been walking. The only time you guys really stopped was during these forehead like performance. But the whole time, like, keeps looking back at anyone that's been whispering. He's like, whispers. Only the wind should whisper. And you guys make your way as you guys start to approach even closer. The tree itself is beyond anything you guys have seen. With the actual branches being so high up, like impossible for you guys to reach, like where you are all now. There's kind of this, you guys hear this kind of general commotion as there are these outsiders, there's these strangers to the Moonmother tree as you all make your way to this giant tree. Mostly a lot of the little kids are starting to kind of get to you, and there's a point where Buka, some of them are like grabbing at your fur, and you hear kind of whispers of like, "He's on 2 feet. That's so freaking cool." And they're looking at like your guys' weapons are maybe a little bit of better quality as you guys are coming in from you guys have steel weapons, something that you aren't really seeing a whole lot with as you're looking around. And that's also not to say that there's no metal work at all, but it is vastly dominated by things that are more of earthly build and nature, and that includes a lot of the weapons. You'll notice that a lot of like the spears, now that you're kind of walking, and some of the hunters seem to be kind of sharing some stuff with Lake as they kind of go on their way. A lot of like the spears that you are looking at seem to be the actual like spear head, instead of a traditional metal point, seems to be made of either tusks or what seems to be claws, like massive claws, so they're like a little bit more curved at the end, but all of it for the most part seems to be of more naturalness. As you get closer, is there anything you guys like to do? You guys are heading towards the tree, so unless you guys are trying to fully veer towards like the city, or like is there anything you guys are trying to perceive, anything you guys are either communicating with anybody as we get to the tree?
I would like to do some flips and twists to entertain the children as we're walking by.
Yeah. Yeah, some of the kids are doing like cartwheels as they're like alongside you, and they're asking so many questions that it's no question. It's just like a cacophony of sound that they're just really excited, and they're pulling on your fur a lot.
Yeah. It's like, okay, yep, that's my fur. Yep, I feel that. I do. Yep. Oh, that's my tail. You don't have to pull on that one. And I like lift it up above the kids and just try to keep it up away.
You're like, you constantly have to kind of like sidestep a lot of it. So you're like, you're little ones,
Yeah.
you're great. So it's a lot of like sidestepping and stuff like that. But the kids they think it's just part of the show at this point.
Nice.
Where are these parents for these kids? Could I perceive what they are doing and or what they think of like these new strangers approaching the mother moon tree?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead and give me either perception or insight.
Reception 27.
Yeah, with a 27,
Nice.
as you're looking, there are people that are just kind of going about their business. They obviously are looking as they're either walking, opposite direction, or some are just kind of headed in your direction. But there does seem to be, and not just exclusively with the parents, but there just does seem to be, or I guess not all, but some of the parents seem to be nearby. But it just seems like the kids are just kind of doing their thing. You notice collectively that the actual size and scale of where you are in Eldoria is pretty massive. And it's not, just dozens of people. There's a lot of people, but looking at the scale of where you are, the number of people, I don't know if it doesn't match it necessarily, but it's like a way smaller number. You
Mm.
do see that the actual number of people doesn't seem to be that much, but at this point, you don't know if people are out hunting. You don't know if people are at jobs. You don't know if they're just in different parts. Because again, the tree being super central, the city makes a circle around it. So there
Mm.
are other parts of the city that you guys are just nowhere near. So at this point, it's kind of hard
Mhm.
to tell what the exact reason is,
Yeah,
but you just notice that
just
maybe
less
there's like a
dense.
few less people than it's not as dense. Yeah.
Mhm.
Lots of
Does it
children,
feel?
no people.
Mhm. Yeah. Does it feel carefree or does it feel stressful at all?
Uh, it feels, I guess, with the children, it's very carefree. You do notice a little bit of tension, but it's also hard to gauge. I'll say, as you guys are coming in as outsiders, it is kind of hard to
Mhm.
gauge. Is it because you guys are outsiders, or if there is something else going
Right.
on? You guys would know that at this point, people have become privy to the fact that they did lose 4 warriors as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
As
As
we
we
get
walk up, I don't necessarily want to stop anywhere because I know that we'll probably be in Eldoria like for a little bit, but I do want to take note of if there's any like weapon shops specifically because I want to look for a shield.
yeah, as you're looking around, go ahead and give me a perception check. Perception
Mhm.
or investigation.
Yeah, and as we move towards the tree, does it feel warmer? Is it still very cold?
It still feels cold. The amount of snow, since you're asking, one thing you notice is the amount of snow is incredibly light where you are. A big part of it is as the snow is falling in some of these higher branches, even when they fall, other branches seem to catch them. You'll notice at this point, it's kind of hard to tell if it's snow from the clouds themselves or just chunks of snow that have fallen from some of the branches. But just with the actual height, by the time it gets to you guys, they fully have dissipated and just feels like gentle snow. So it never really feels like heavy snow is landing here, even amongst like the roads themselves. It's just like a fine layer compared to outside of what the city, because the city itself, as you guys are looking up, it's weird because you guys are noticing the branches, get further and further behind you. You realize that the extent of the city ends at the end of the branches. And so because of that, the city itself doesn't have a lot of snow. But you guys were you guys were in the woods, there was trees, and there was still a lot of snow.
Yeah.
So just as far as what the aesthetic looks like. You get on your
20, I
investigation.
got 23.
23. As you are looking around, you don't see a weapons shop. Lake does notice you kind of looking around, and he says, "Do not worry. This is safe place. You do not need to be afraid here."
Oh no, I'm not. That's actually I was curious. I've been traveling without shield, and I've been thinking about carrying one. So I was just looking around to see if there was anywhere that would sell them here.
We do not be purchasing. We don't to do. We barter, but you seek armaments for protection.
Hmm. Yes.
We could help with that. We could provide. Let us speak with Lova, and then afterwards, you and I can speak, and perhaps we could find you something.
Great. Thank you.
Of course. You guys make your way as you guys are headed towards the Moonmother tree. Again, it takes a little bit at the base of it of this massive, massive trunk. The trunk itself, from one end to the other, is easily 80 feet. It's this massive trunk as it goes all the way around of like just massive. At the base of it, you do notice some smaller trees. From a distance, it almost looked like saplings until you realize they're just fully grown trees that are just in comparison to this, they just look really small. But similarly to all the other buildings, these ones are almost like fused together. And you do notice a larger tree that seems to have a kind of like these like decorations that are hanging, and it's just a two white banners. It doesn't have any symbol on them, but they kind of frame the edge of the actual, I guess, building. And then similarly, like the roots themselves have opened up and provide an entrance in. And Lake and Tamsin lead you guys in. Immediately, it is so warm inside the tree itself. You guys like have to kind of like already take off your cloaks. The moment you guys step in, you guys already start to sweat a little bit. Let me go and inform Lova of your approach. I will be back. And as he
Thank you.
goes deeper into one of the other rooms, the walls being made up of, tree material and the inside of the trunk itself. As you guys are inside, go ahead and give me nature or arcana.
Oh, no. We're just going to go with no.
Okay, no
I
from
got a
Puka.
I got a 5.
I've what was
I
it?
got
So
a
sorry.
20.
Nat
I got
20.
a
Ooh.
20. Do you
Love it.
need to decide if it's nature or arcana?
Yeah. Tell me. In general, you get a lot of information, but kind of what is it
Yeah,
that you are looking for?
I feel like being that it's Pierce, regardless of as a player, arcana I think would be really interesting. Doesn't make sense for Pierce, so I think we'll go nature.
Yeah. With a nature check, as you have already been walking past all these trees, a couple of different things. One, you realize that none of these trees have been molded or shaped in any arcane way.
They're all
There's
growing naturally the way that
yeah,
they are growing, essentially.
even the hollow inside seems to be part of just the way that it grew. But as you've been looking at a lot of these trees, they look almost identical to a lot of the trees that you've seen on your way in, just bigger and like with thicker trunks. And so it's not like this is like a special kind of tree that's just hollow on the inside. As you're looking at it, it seems that I'll say with a nat 20, the easiest way to describe it is that at some point in time, the trees were coaxed into being the shape that they are. And so it doesn't seem that the tree, as weird as it sounds, it doesn't seem like the tree seems to really mind as this inanimate object. But yeah, I'll say that like as you are kind of looking at the inside, like there's literally staircases up that again all seem to be instead of it being, normally carved pieces of wood that are placed, they're nailed down, all that stuff. They are just thick branches that have kind of formed their way in and are wide enough that people can step. And so everything about this just seems to be aspects of the tree itself.
This whole city was like the tree meant for it to be created.
Yeah, I know it's a little weird being inside of a tree unless you guys have been inside of a tree before. I don't
Yeah.
believe.
Not not recently,
Okay.
right?
Oh, when
It's
was
been
the
a while.
okay?
Hmm.
You've been okay. Please, we'll have to compare notes. 'Cause the first time I stepped into one of these, I had a lot of questions, and then Lake got really mad because I had a lot of questions, and then Lova said she wasn't upset, but you could tell she was getting really annoyed. So then I kind of ended that a little bit. But yeah, it's magnificent.
Yeah.
Pierce
Yeah.
looks at Puka confused that he's been inside of a tree before.
Hmm.
Um,
So,
Tamsin, I have a question.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, like this. I mean, to you guys and to the tribes in the Heartlands, this tree is very like sacred. It is huge, though. How is the city kept? I mean, relatively secret.
I don't know. I had heard of the Moonmother tree, years ago that was still studying over at Whisperfen. And I mean, the Moonmother tree itself is not a secret by any means. Like anybody that it's part of your Stakarian history. But as
Mhm.
far as people that have actually witnessed it, it's very, very minimal. As you've seen, the Broken Shield can be very protective of the area and especially of the Moonmother tree. But it just seems that people just don't notice it. And so it's been hard because the tree itself is innately magical. It has existed for millennia. And so since it has been here for so long, it's hard to differentiate how much of the magic of it is simply of the tree itself, if it received some form of protection or blessing when it was a sapling, or if there's some other arcane magic at work, because it seems that it is a combination of a little bit of everything. But it seems that obviously when you're nearby, you can see it, so it's not physically hidden. But as far as people being able to see it from a distance, I couldn't tell you. That's part of the
Yeah,
reason why I've been here.
just like thinking back on our as we traveled to the city, was there a point where like Pierce would have been like, "Oh my god, like there's the tree," but it seemed like 100 feet before I should have been able to see it and I couldn't.
Yeah, and a big part of it also, this will go back to you guys' earlier, is like nature and survival checks. The trees themselves that like in the woods that you guys have been in are fairly tall. Like it's like a thick forest. So as far as when you're like, I guess, within a couple miles of it, part of it is the actual foliage just
Just
covers so
covered
much
it.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not like I'm looking over top of the trees.
right. But from a distance, you don't know if like the three of you guys happen to be in the equivalent part of the Skyfane range, if you guys would be able to see it or not. You suspect that you probably could, but also at this point, you guys have gotten very far from the mountain range, and you guys are like in the heartlands. You guys are like dead center. You guys have already been traveling for 2 weeks, just directly heading deeper into just the middle of Stakaria.
We have to go
So
like
at this point,
southwest.
yeah, you we're progressing deeper in. So it's hard to truly know if there's a magical effect, or it's just there's nothing nearby that would even give you a chance to look at it.
Yeah.
So
Well,
mhm.
like
So no, I understand. I truly want to understand more of this tree. It's been, almost or actually a little over 2 years now that I've been attempting to research it, and we have found incredible things, as well as the magic that it provides the city, or even the whole of the Heartlands. But beyond that, I wish I could be of more help. Maybe we can discover more together. Yes,
Yes.
I mean that's the
research
Yeah.
goal.
research buddies.
Research
Yeah.
buddies. Woo!
Yes, yes.
Yes. We still have to take
Uh,
our bestie test too. Don't forget.
I have not forgotten. It is in my notes of things that must be accomplished today.
Mhm.
What time
Uh,
is it?
at this point, it is about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Because it is wintertime, the sun should be setting probably in the next hour or so. You hear the sound of kind of like wood on wood, as you recognize the sound of a staff hitting the ground. And then you guys kind of hear like a and then staff. As through one of the doorways, Lake opens up the door, and then holding on to the crook of his arm is this old elf. Dark skin, hair that has fully formed into just kind of one massive clump of hair. So much gray. Like what was probably at some point salt and pepper hair is just so much salt, very little pepper. She is hunched over, standing. Even at her tallest, she might be 5'4", but right now she is a good 5 foot, and that's her kind of pushing it, as she is holding onto Lake with one arm and then using this staff, the staff about the height of Lake. It's like a fairly tall staff. Just this long set of just hair that's been pushed back that goes to about her knees, and she is just wearing like a brown muumuu, just like this, just super simple clothing as she heads in your guys' directions. And then Lova speaks up and just says, "This is Lova, the matriarch of the city. Show your respect."
I
What's the
slowly drop
proper
to
technique?
one knee.
You can just say hello. That's okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, get please, Lake. Tell him to get up. Where's my chair?
Right. Hello.
And he
You're
leads her to like a chair nearby. Please, like get him. Can you get him chairs, please? I don't like them standing while I'm. He'll get you. We'll all sit down. It'll be a nice conversation. As soon as he kind of gently puts her in this a massive chair, very simple in design, but at this point, it's probably closer to, I guess, what would be a throne, as it's kind of part of the one of the walls themselves. As you guys are kind of led off to the side, and Lake and Tamsin bring chairs enough for everybody, and you guys, there's no table. You guys just are kind of in a semicircle, and then everyone is facing Lova, who is facing the five of you. You all come from very far. I
Yes.
hope your journey here was pleasant and uneventful.
Those are words that could describe it. It's so good to meet you. My name is Valentina. It is an honor to be in the presence of the matriarch of Elodie.
It's nothing. I'm just an old lady. What about the rest of you?
very nice to meet you. It was a good journey, I think.
Good.
And I look at Pierce. Only one of us had to hurt somebody to get here.
Lake has
Big smile.
Lake has informed me of our loss.
Mhm.
It was sad and unnecessary, but it happened, and so here we are. And this is Pierce.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
me. Nice to meet you. I appreciate you taking the time.
Of
I'd say
course.
the travel was relatively pleasant. I don't think they. I mean, they didn't need our help, but we were happy to show up when we did.
Looks over at Lake. I'm sure you love that, Lake. He's quiet. He's like, yes, of course. I always love receiving assistance. That's a lie, but okay. So Lake tells me that you all had some questions. I'm I'm not sure how much help I could be, but I've been here for a very long time, so maybe I can be of some assistance.
Yeah, we do have some questions. Tamsin, do you mind filling in everything that we shared with you about? And I pull out the journal.
Yeah.
About Vorkin, and then Tamsin sharing his expertise of the spells and who Vorkin is, and all
Yeah, and I'll say, like, there's like a point where, like, you guys collectively, are you guys just in general just kind of sharing what
Yes.
Mhm.
what's
Yeah. Do we
transpired
know?
in your
Remind me. Do we know specifically what about them tree they need for the spell?
no,
No.
but you know that they've been
Okay.
is there something about it that is a component of
Right.
Right. Okay.
That's
Yeah, I
partially
knew
what we're
that
trying to
part.
find out
I just
right
wasn't
now.
sure if it was like a piece of the tree you'll need. But,
yeah, so
we
at
just
this point you
we
guys
need to
don't know
know.
that, you just know that the a
Okay.
part of the tree is used as a component. Yeah, you guys can all, like, collectively, you guys are all chiming in on your guys' story of kind of what has led you here. And so, yeah, so they informed me that, and then we saw them here after Onyx sent them to talk with me. And as Tamsin looks over at Lake and just says, and so it seems that these crystal talons are inscribing some of the other tribes to attempt to either weaken us or just fully try to take over. I'm gonna say they probably are unknowledgeable in the actual why, but if they're hard pressed for supplies at this point in time, maybe that might be the reason why. I see. This
Lady Lova, if I may, do you know our big mission here is to stop a very powerful magic user from creating another realm and possibly killing a lot of people. He needs spell components, and the Moonmother tree was brought up. Do you know what part of the tree they could be seeking, or or what they might need for this spell?
There's a lot of magic contained within the tree, and it is an ancient tree. I've been living here for almost 700 years, and the tree was already what it is then. So even my grandmother tended to the tree, and it was already around then. So the tree has existed for a time, and so because of that, things that exist in perpetuity will often hold a special magic. I'm not sure what part of the tree itself, but I'm assuming it is more within the heart of the tree. I don't think a simple leaf would be enough. But I mean, I'm not as well, and looks at Tamsin. I'm not as well versed in these arcane ways as you are, Tamsin. But this Cavino fellow that's attempting this ritual, this spell. What do you know of him? You said you traveled with him for a brief period of time, but
What we know of him firsthand is that he's a he's a good actor. He pretended to not know how to fight very well, which we now know is not true. I don't think that he was acting about being our friend at the time, but
He didn't know who we
he
were,
is
though.
it right. That's why I don't think he lied about that necessarily. But you know, from what we've been told, he's sad, and I think sad people will do anything to ease their pain.
yes,
And this might be part of it.
I would imagine he is a sad fellow. Go ahead and give me insight checks.
Insight check.
21.
Nice. 22.
Eh,
I got a 4.
23. Oh,
You're really trying, Pearson. That's all we can really ask, you know.
It's so funny because when I roll an investigation that I have so much better ability in, I'll roll higher numbers and then get a high number because I also add a lot to it. And then when I roll perception, I roll low numbers and add nothing.
Hey, I believe you. I believe you.
just-
Okay.
Like,
it's
Hey.
the story the dice want to tell.
All
Yeah.
we ask is that we're trying our best.
And that's all we can really ask for, you know.
Yeah.
It's the Gatlin made. It'll help me roll better.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
You weighted it so it's only
yeah.
not 20s.
Yeah, I'll pay him $5 on the side to make a weighted one.
Are you cheating the dice?
With a 22, Buka, there is something that she's not telling you. She's not lying about anything. Like you don't feel any kind of facetiousness coming from her, but you could tell that she's not being like forthright with something. Yeah, I would imagine he is a sad individual, but if they've already begun seeking the assistance of some of the outside tribes, then I imagine it's only a matter of time before they make their way in to Eldoria. So it might be
Right.
looks over at Lake, might be a good thing to try and having more scouts kind of surveying the outer parts of our region.
I'm sorry. Uh, you've been around for a little while. Do you know anything about?
I don't imagine I do. Go ahead and do another insight check.
Oh,
Go ahead and do this one with advantage.
No,
sick.
Why are you lying to us?
Be better. Nope, that's not better. 16.
She's lying to you.
Right. Now, how do I ask her to stop lying without making everybody angry? Or upset or
What's the
I-
timeline of like? So she's how old? 700.
She said she's
been-
a little over 700.
Right. And then would that be the era of Cavino or would that be the era of another version of Cavino?
no, it would have been not. Hadrian was 800 years ago, and Ezrin
So-
Greencraft, the musician, was 300 years ago.
You could
So
ask.
depending on
did
how
we
long
mention?
Ezrin
Did we
lived,
mention? Yeah.
You did mention.
We did
Ezrin
mention. Okay.
specifically. Or all the names.
I'm assuming
All of the
'cause
names.
I will say that
Everything.
this would also be included with some things that you, because Tamsin at this point has the journal, so at least the names that you are aware of, those would have been brought up.
Right. I think I take a second, I look down and I say, I'm sorry, ma'am. I have to ask. Are have you known Cavino in one of his past lives at all? And I don't mean to pry, but I do want to urge you that we are doing this in the best interest of the people.
And the Moonmother tree.
I do imagine that you are. Yes. I knew a Hadrian stag shield in my younger days, back when I would I was adventuring more. It seems that he's found another group of followers, this Dragonborn being the most recent, probably. As she's sharing this, Lake is like tense. Not because it's like necessarily bad news, but just like this is something that he wasn't privy
Aware
to.
of.
Yes, I used to travel with Hadrian back when I would travel more.
What group was he a part of then, or what followers did he have?
We didn't have a name. We were simply do-gooders, people that were attempting to help where we could.
One Hadrian founded Lenneth.
He
Yeah.
valued making sure that people that couldn't receive traditional learning could actually get something of value, even if they couldn't necessarily afford it. Yes, no, we would spend a lot of time further south in Stakaria. We would be in parts of Numir, and we would, attempt to help people where we could. And then he started to just becoming distant. And after Lenneth was founded, we traveled together still for a few more years. And then he was really adamant about finding professors of all walks of life that seemed knowledgeable in their certain trade, and then grew consistently frustrated with them not knowing enough, which was astounding to me. These were the most learned people that I had ever met, and somehow for Hadrian it wasn't enough. And as this continued for a few more years, he grew distant and more upset and more angry, and one day left a note that just said that he had to go and find what he was looking for. Simple. That was all the note had said.
How long ago was that?
500, close to 600 years ago.
Hmm.
I was a young 80-year-old at the time when I first met him.
I think it might be safe to say that he found what he was looking for.
It would appear so. I worry that he has been blinded for what he was looking for. He never shared that with the rest of us, but I imagine that he used to have nightmares a lot, and he would sometimes wake up crying. And he said it was someone that he had lost. And we traveled with him for a long time, and we would ask questions, and he was always really, he shared a lot about himself, but that was one thing that and so it appears that we now know why. But I mean, I haven't seen or spoken to him in so long. I mean, at some point I assumed he just went on his own way and hopefully died in a place where he was loved, and we
Yeah.
went on.
That's what he's trying to do.
Right. So at the time you only knew him as Hadrian.
Yes.
You didn't
No.
know that he was Vorkin.
Or I didn't know he was anyone before that either. I had no reason to even imagine or suspect that.
I mean, similarly
Was
to
he-
our interaction with Cavino, we had no idea that he was anybody else other than Cavino.
During your time with him, was he always obsessed with this knowledge or the information that he was pressing these experts for, or was this something that he started doing during your travels together?
You see that she starts to think. I'm gonna give her a history check because this is 600 years ago.
Yeah, she old.
Yeah, I don't really recall. I mean, we would when we were adventuring and we were traveling, there would be times when perhaps he would be more interested in a certain thing. But I mean, in travels as an adventurer, is it that uncommon to be curious about something and maybe obsess over it slightly? But then he would investigate, he would search something, and then we would move on and we would travel. And again, we were just trying to help, and he had a passion for helping the youth. He had a passion for helping young people, and so that was a big part of it. But his, at least from what I saw, his deep obsession with, at the time I didn't even know what it was for, didn't happen
Mm-hmm.
until already a few years after Lenneth had opened. Lenneth was still fairly new. We had helped found it maybe 5 years before, and in that entire time, as the school and its reputation was being built up, and as we were looking for professors and students and finding ways to fund the school, there was an obsessive nature that kind of came into him, almost like a bad spirit that would not leave him.
Mm.
Right. Okay.
I'm sorry that I cannot provide more help.
No, I
No,
mean,
don't be sorry.
it's a lot of information and history about working that we didn't know before.
So, when it comes to the heart of the tree, is the only way to get to the heart to cut down the tree, or is there a
No,
way? Is there another way?
no. I mean, there are paths into the tree. I mean, you all stepped into this tree. There are entrances in general. Most entrance to most, even of the people of this city, entrance is limited or prohibited entirely. Just there is still tending. It's still a tree, just like any plant in a garden. It must be tended to, and so I help oversee that, and I have a few trusted advisors, Lake included, and then kind of looks, and then it seems Tamsin has joined our inner ranks a little bit, and it's really subtle. You guys barely see it, but you guys just see kind of like a fist, like yes, from Tamsin. But I imagine that beyond that, I mean, again, the existence of the tree itself is not a mystery. The actual location is a little bit more, and as well as again, entrance in the broken spear is the innermost tribe. But then, even if someone were to travel, they would have to travel through close to 100 miles of woods, and they're occupied by other tribes. So it's not like people just wander in.
Okay. So, we're protected by hundreds of miles of forest, lots of tribes, and entrances, or the tree itself. Is it like a maze in there, or does it all lead to the heart?
Slightly. It's not quite a true maze. The I guess there's this is among things that are not typically spoken about. So I hope you understand my hesitation, but I also
Mm-hmm.
understand the pressing nature of your arrival here. The tree itself is alive, and
Mm-hmm.
the heart of the tree doesn't always look the exact same. It's not a true maze where it's impossible to make your way through it, but it seems that the Moonmother, in her infinite wisdom, will randomly like to tell some jokes and be a little bit more difficult to enter or make your way to the heart of the tree. And you see the talking about like a joke, Lake kind of tenses up once again and just says, under his breath, he's just like, "It is not the autumn equinox." But again, entering the tree itself is not the difficult part in and of itself, but trying to make your way through the inner workings and into the heart. The tree does protect itself. In general, the people of Eldoria haven't really had any malicious intent. In the past, hundreds of years ago, we've had maybe travelers and researchers from Whisperfen looks over at Tamsin that maybe haven't had the most pure of intents, and they were never able to find the heart of the tree. Some of them may or may not still be in there. But
Oh, good to know. Is there a
So
way to
that's
communicate with the Moonmother to let it know that it's in danger?
I mean, we sit at her roots. This whole conversation is already privy to the Moonmother.
Okay. Sweet. So she can protect herself a little.
Yes. The fortifications inside of the tree that lead to the heart aren't they're not a perfect defense. There's no such thing as a perfect defense, but the tree itself, the Moonmother can take care of herself. It's again not exactly the easiest thing to navigate for those with intention. Again, it also hasn't been really a problem for the last couple hundred years. So looks at Tamsin, you're doing good, buddy. Uh, I do shudder at the fact that if if Hadrian's eyes are already set on approaching the tree, I imagine that it is only a matter of time. If what you have shared is true about his unnatural lifespan, he has nothing but time.
Does seem that way.
so if the tree protects itself, how would one gain the trust of the Moonmother tree to get to the heart?
Um, just like any relationship is built. People have this notion a lot of times that trust begets vulnerability, but it's typically the other way around. Vulnerability typically begets trust. And so many times, just like the bark of a tree, we tend to try to protect ourselves, but it is in allowing us to be open to being hurt that I think that's where trust begins. And so I've had the pleasure of tending to this tree for the last 500 years, and I was born underneath the boughs of this tree, and I will probably die underneath the boughs of this tree. And so I obviously have a different relationship than most people with the Moon Mother, but as far as individuals, I cannot speak to them. I apologize that I cannot help more in that I simply just do not know.
Don't
People,
apologize. You've helped us so much already.
yes, people, I'm old, so people think that I'm just all knowing, all wise, but I'm just really old, so I just know a lot and I kind of remember a lot. But yeah, there's kind of that pressure. I'm I'm just an old lady. So
Hey, well, we appreciate you for remembering and sharing.
yes,
For being
uh,
vulnerable with us.
of course. And I appreciate the same. And looks over at Buka and just says, and I appreciate you asking questions that most people I feel would probably be afraid to ask. Even I, sometimes need a little rap on the knuckles to remind me that I have a little learning to do as well. So, well, please, I looks over at Lake and just says, I'm sure accommodations can be found, and I hope you will stay with us for as long as you. Looks over at Lake and just says, and maybe let's start getting some more patrols and scouts going. But did you all have any other questions before? I was like, I'm really hungry. So
Yeah, I'm so
I
sorry.
have a.
Last.
No, it's good. The soup is getting a little cold, but
Yeah.
you could. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. It's, is the Moonmother tree itself sentient at all? Does it speak?
It.
And
She doesn't speak, or at least she hasn't spoken in the last 700 years. But so if she does, she's been very quiet. But
right,
it's more of a, feeling of things, similar with close friends or with partners or with family. The way that moods and can shift in subtle ways. It's similar with
right. Do you know of other trees that can speak?
no, but that would be something.
That
That
would be something.
that would be something. Yeah. And Buka
Hmm.
like puts his hand on his sheath and remembers Daniel.
I'm gonna go get my chowder now. Maybe we can
Chowder?
Yes, it is. Was kind of in the middle of it, and then grabbed me, let me know some outsiders were here, but I didn't want to be rude. So, but it is definitely getting cold, and I would like to finish it. So, I think you're all wonderful, but I'm going to looks over at Lake. I'm gonna go eat. And then Lake gets up and then kind of just puts his arm out. She uses his arm and the staff to kind of will herself up. And as she starts to head out back through that same door where she originally walked out of, she looks at you and just says, if at any point, of course, in your time here, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. And then, of course, I would appreciate it if maybe in the meantime you could be of assistance to Lake in any of the preparations. But
Of course. Thank you.
Of course.
yes, be useful. That is good. This is a good thing, especially the two wise ones. Looks over at Buka and the hairy one. As he starts to make his way towards that door again, from from outside, you guys start to hear the sound of one horn sounding off in the distance, followed by two, three coming from various parts of the city. Immediately, as the horns start to go off, Lake, uh, Tamsin, and Lova all kind of look towards the direction of outside, and Lake speaks up and says, "Those are the alarm horns. There's a battle approaching." And that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
Ah.
Cue the
I
music.
just want war. You just want war.